Hello everyone, it's Fionn and welcome back to my channel, Cruising Eva channel. I know it's a little bit late, but today I'm going to be doing the Mid Year Freakout Tag. I've seen a few different people's videos of this and they all seem to have slightly different questions, but from what I've picked up, there seems to be like a main base of questions and then some people have added their own ones on the end. So I'm going to do what I think are the main questions. And the first one is, how is your reading going so far in 2025? And the answer is fantastic. I'm having a really great reading year. I think I've said it at the start of every single monthly wrap up video. Another great reading month, and it's just going really well. I don't know what it is, but I'm really loving my reading at the moment. I've read some really great books this year. I have read some not so good ones too, but like I always say, if I've got a book sitting on my physical TBR and then I read it and I don't enjoy it, at least I know, and it's off my physical TBR. It's not taking up space on my shelves and it can go to someone else who's going to enjoy it a lot more. I've been working really hard on my videos and my channel this year, and I think that's been pushing me to read a bit more as well. So I am trying to be aware of the fact that I could hit myself with a bit of burnout, but at the moment, that's not the case. And I'm just really enjoying everything about reading at the moment. I'm really enjoying making my videos. I'm enjoying the book, but I'm enjoying the process of reading them as well and just discovering new books, finding out if I like them, the different ways I choose to read them. I'm just really having a great time. The next question is the best book I've read so far this year, and this question I found so easy to answer. My mind went straight to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. This is actually one of 3 5-star books I've had this year. Last year I only had one 5-star and I didn't have it until the very end of the year, so I was buzzing when I had one. I think in January and then February and then this one maybe April, but this is the one that really stands out of the three, and I just haven't stopped thinking about it. When someone says to me, oh, what's a great book you read recently, my mind goes straight to this book. It's about 23-year-old Addie LaRue who, in a bit of desperation, makes a deal with the devil basically and ends up cursed in such a way that nobody can ever remember her, and she's immortal but nobody knows who she is and nobody even knows she exists. And as soon as somebody turns around or closes a door, they forget all about her. They have no idea they ever met her. And it spans over 300 years, so it goes all the way up to the modern day, um, where she meets someone who finally remembers her. And that's the storyline that we're following, but it flits back and forth. It's so well done. It is an absolute masterpiece. And this is by far, without a doubt, my favourite book of the year so far. Other honourable mentions go to Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, another 5-star read, but I'm going to get to this one later. And The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. This was a reread for me because I had to read it for uni. Oh, absolutely fantastic book. I really like it. It's a novel told in verse about a queer young black man, and it is just fantastic. He goes to uni. We follow him from childhood into young adulthood, and he really finds himself in uni and he finds himself in drag, and it is a really wonderful story. The next question is best sequel, and I really struggled to answer this one. I'm not someone who reads a lot of series, but I have been reading a few recently, and the one that I kind of feel has to be my answer is the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So I read the first book in between Christmas and New Year and really loved it. And then I've read the rest of the series this year and I have enjoyed them. But I have to say, like, the first book was definitely my favourite. And I think if I'd read more series, this wouldn't be my favourite, but it's kind of one of the only options. Having said that, this month, so today's the 21st of July. So this month I have been making an effort to continue some more series. I thought that this was going to be my best sequel. I have actually read this like in the beginning of the second half of the year, so I don't know if this would count anyway, but this was not it. So I don't know about that. And then I'm currently reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which is the fourth book in the Harry Potter series. It's definitely my favourite of the series so far, so that might be my answer. But obviously, it wasn't really in the first half of the year. So I don't really know what to say about that, but there it is. The next question is a new release I haven't read yet but want to. Now, kind of similar to the series and standalones, I don't really tend to keep up with new releases. I'm not someone who is very up to date with what's going on in the bookish world. I just read and have a lovely time. But one new release that I probably would like to get to is, what's it called? The new Hunger Games book, which I did check and it did come out this year, because I seem to think books are really new, and then turns out they came out several years ago. What is it called? I should have checked. Yeah, I can't remember. But the new Hunger Games book, however, I would like to reread them all before I do that. So I read the original trilogy in March, April time last year and really loved it. But I read them back to back, and by the third book, I was starting to get a bit fed up of being in the universe. So to read 5, because I haven't read the Ballad and the Song, the Ballad. Oh, I'm getting mixed up with the Crowds of Niactia names now. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I haven't read that yet either. So I feel like I'd want to read the first 3 again, and then that one, and then the new one, which is called... Oh, I really can't remember. Oh. But I don't know if I'd just get fed up of them again. So I don't know what to do about that, but I would like to read that at some point. And then as for a new release that's coming out in the second half of the year that I'd like to read, I have no idea. Next question is the biggest disappointment, and I think my answer for this would be The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I don't typically love books that are really popular and trending. I don't know what it is, but when there's a book like that, I always know there's a chance that I'm not going to fit in with the majority opinion of that book. However, with that book, I had not seen a single review that was anything less than glowing for this book. So I was like, oh, this is going to be the one. I was so excited to finally have a book that I loved it just as much as everyone else. I did not like it at all. I gave it 1 star. I didn't really believe in the romance between the 2 characters, and I found the writing so repetitive. I really didn't like it, which was a real shame, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. What are my other disappointments? Oh yeah, I'd probably say The Ashes and The Star-Cursed King for one. Again, this didn't really fit into the first 6 months of the year, but I've just read this recently, and after I loved the first book so much, this one just wasn't the same. Oh wait, but I was going to answer this for a different question, so hang on. Biggest disappointments. I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, I know. I have a small stack of them here. Like I say, The 7-Year Slip, that's probably the main one. But then I also have Black Book by Matteo Ascari-Poe, which I've had for years. I think I got this in 2021. And it's been sitting on my shelf staring at me, and I've just never felt super urged to pick it up. And then I finally did, and I read 15 pages and DNF'd it. I just wasn't getting on with the writing style. I was not connecting with the main character. I didn't like the way he was coming across, and I just decided that it wasn't for me. Obviously, I didn't give it a fantastic chance, but sometimes you just know. And yeah, this book just wasn't for me, and that's okay, but it was a bit of a disappointment. Same with Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I also DNF'd this, and I got a good halfway through this, but I just reached a point where I was like, I'm struggling through this for no reason. It just wasn't for me. And then in a slightly different vein, Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto was also quite a big disappointment for me. I think I gave it 3.75 stars, so a decent rating. Like, I did enjoy this book, but I had it in my head that I was going to absolutely love this book, and I just didn't. So I found it disappointing in that way, although I still liked it. Whereas the other two, I thought I was going to find them okay, and then I didn't like them at all. So kind of different situation, but again, disappointing, just in a different way. The next question is the biggest surprise, and I have chosen Reptile Memoirs by Celia Ulstein for this because what the hell? So many parts of this book, I just spent the whole part with my face just like, I don't know if surprising is the right word. Shocking, maybe, unhinged. But I also was surprised at how much I enjoyed this because I enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting to. I actually thought this was a really great book, but it was so weird. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. And another surprise, maybe How Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. I read this from the library, but I thought that book was so great. It is a dystopia about I don't know if it's dystopia or dystopian, but it's that about a 16-year-old trans boy called Benji, and he's living in a world where being trans is not okay, being any member of the LGBTQ plus community is not considered okay, and the government have created this, or well, it's like a cult basically. So they've created this bioweapon which they infect young people with to turn them into killing machines, and then who do they kill? All the queer people. That book was so good, and I don't know if I'd call that a huge surprise, but in some ways it really was, because it was a book that I'd not heard of, and then I don't know if it was Angel Raposo. I heard someone talk about it, but I only heard one person mention it once ever. And then I got it from the library and I really loved it. Favourite new author, which is either new to me or a debut author. I am so torn here because I definitely would have said Carissa Broadbent. I read The Serpent and the Wings of Night and thought it was so good. I gave it 4.75 stars, which is a fantastic rating. And then I read Six Scorched Roses, gave that 4 stars. But then, this is what I was saying. I picked up The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King last month, and it just didn't match up to the energy, the excitement, the feelings, and I'm sad about it. And I don't even know if I want to continue the series anymore. So I think that's the only kind of author that I've new to me author that I've read this year, though, that I've had one book and been like, yeah. I mean, I guess I could say V. Schwab, but I've only read one book, so I don't know. And same with Andrew Joseph White, who wrote How Followed With Us. I was just talking about. I don't know. Yeah, I really thought the answer for this would be Carissa Broadbent until I read this book, so now I'm confused. A book that made me cry. It doesn't take a lot, I will say that. So several books have made me shed a few tears, but Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed. This book was so gut-wrenching, and I already knew what was going to happen. I knew the story because I've watched the film so many times before. I love this story, I love this book, and I love the film, and it made me cry my eyes out. One of my 3 5-star reads this year, and just so good. And yeah, I really cried. And then on the flip side of that, we have a book that made me happy, and my choice is What You're Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama. This is just so wholesome. It's about a librarian who, oh my goodness, it's about a librarian who can meet someone very briefly, look at them and ask them a couple of questions, and then is like, yep, I know the book that you need. And the recommendations seem really random, but the people try them and the results are life-changing because she just gets what they need to read right now. And it's just so wholesome and a lovely time. A book I saw on Book Talk and regret reading. I maybe the 7-year slip I'd say for this, but still I wanted to try it and I did, and I found out I didn't like it. So I won't really call that a regret. Yeah, I don't really think I have an answer for this one. And then we have the most beautiful books I've got this year. And I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but I love this cover, Rosewater by Liv Little. I think this cover is just gorgeous. So that's probably my answer for that. But I did want to mention some other books. The reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. The cover is whatever, but I really like the spine of this one, and I keep seeing it in my TBR cart, like where I can just see the spine, and it makes me want to pick it up because I really like the spine. I don't know why, but I just do. And then I wanted to mention The Grace Year by Kim Liggett because this book sounds so good to me, and I think the cover is awful. Like, I just don't think the cover matches up to how good I think the book is going to be, which I think is a real shame. But I just do not think this is a good cover. I do apologise if that's really mean. And to whoever made this, like, good job. But for me, I just don't. It doesn't make me want to pick up the book. Like, if I saw that, I would not pick up this book. It's because I heard Sarah Caroli talking about it that I thought the premise sounded really good. That's where I got it. But I just don't like the cover. And the final question is books that I need to read by the end of the year. So, How to Disappear by Gillian McAllister is a book that I was not aware of, but my mum got it for me for my birthday and she thought it was amazing. So I think I'm going to take this on holiday and read that. Other books that I think I'd like to take on holiday are Ready or Not by Cara Bastone and Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I'm so excited for this one. So I'd really like to get to this one soon, just because I'm feeling really excited about it. And so why not? The book on my physical TBR that I am the most excited about is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Again, one that I heard Sarah Caroli talking about and thought it sounded amazing. But I've told myself I didn't want to read it until I've knocked off some other series so I don't get confused and mixed up between them all. But I am so excited to read this book, so I probably will read it before the end of the year. And talking about series, I would like to make a little bit more progress in the Harry Potter series by the end of the year, just so that I'm not leaving it too long between installments that I'm forgetting what's going on. So that brings us to the end of the Mid Year Freakout Tag. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. And I used to watch people's videos, and when they'd say that, they'd be like, give me the world. I'd be like, yeah, sure. But actually, knowing that people want to watch what I'm making actually does give me a real boost. So thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!